Wolf's Den with Lone Wolf Poetics. Sit back and enjoy the unique perspective that is expressed through poetry, poems, prose, and short stories.
Okay, hello and welcome back inside the Wolf's Den on Cosmos Astrum Radio. My name is Lone Wolf Poetics. So, like I said last week, this week's episode, like I said last week, this week's broadcast is going to be pretty heavy. It's going to be a pretty hard listen. And that is because I'm going to be jumping into some of my pieces that deal with truth and reconciliation. This is something that's very personal to me, very close to my heart. So I myself am indigenous. I am Cree. So I myself am indigenous. I'm Cree. And I am only a couple of generations removed from residential school survivors, which is kind of crazy to think about, actually. So I have about 5 or 6, 7 pieces I want to try and get through tonight. So quite a bit. So because of that, I'm not going to be really breaking down each piece like kind of individually like I normally do. There's going to be a couple pieces that I kind of write that I have a couple things I want to say about, but for the most part, I'm just going to be kind of reciting one piece and then going into the next right away. Okay. So with that said, my first piece is entitled "They Can't Break Our Spirits," and it goes like this. Treaty lies hidden behind smiling eyes, shaking hands bearing blood of shaken lands, the remains of buffalo slaughter surrounding all sides, misinformed malicious murderers making massacre on Cypress Hill's side. Wounded Knee brings terrorist America to a bloody knee. The forgotten stories, hidden atrocities, defiled casualties of early bloodthirsty democracies. Treaty lies hidden behind smiling eyes, shaking hands bearing scars of fractured hearts, the haunting remains of residential school stains, assembling Christian Catholic religion assimilation, molesting, beating, preaching, shadow casting, 145 years. Canada's greatest sin illuminated by barely a glimmer, civilization's simmering achievement. Treaty lies hidden behind smiling eyes, shaking hands bearing tears of shaken families. All that remains of missing and murdered indigenous women, personas non grata, scarred stains slapping solicited scandalous smiles, a state of emergency met with flatline urgency. Rallies cried, tears undried, graves undefined, of First Nations pride victimized. Quote, sometimes they have to kill us. They have to kill us. Because they can't break our spirits. End quote. John Trudell, Thunderheart, 1992. Okay, so that was my first piece of the first piece of the evening, obviously, entitled "They Can't Break Our Spirits." So like I said, just kind of keep. I'm just gonna jump right into my second piece here. So this piece is another kind of prose piece entitled "Desecration," and it goes like this. Young lives filled with fun and folly, crazy days and wild nights, not a care in sight. The futures of nameless angels seem so endless, like a prairie horizon, limitless and flowing. Their names will never be forgotten, though their honor died in vain. The legacy of their pain shall forever remain lost in translation. Bound and enslaved to reign for all eternity, deprived of rightful dignity, tied to letters, the confession of murderers. Too many months, too many years, too many decades could not conceal this tragedy. The desecration of history now casts a shadowy stain that reaches through the years and plagues the country's devotion. The name torn and frayed, weakened and beaten by spellbinding possession. awakening to a vicious nightmare that seems deceivingly flirtatious. Nothing but the sweet sorrow of memory lane will lead to the cleansing of this inescapable catalyst. 1 second, one breath, and one blink of an eye that refused to reopen. Manifestation, infestation, a nation ruled by oppression. Desecration is what brought this hell to fruition. The ties that bind truth to lies is the only salvation. Okay, so that was my piece. Entitled Desecration. So this one I do want to make a couple comments about. So this was actually the very first time I had ever written about residential schools or missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. So at the time, I think I wrote this in like 2014, maybe 2015, around there. So at the time, I kind of thought that I wanted this piece to be really special and really impactful. So it was going to be at the time, I thought this was going to be. I would kind of keep this as the only time I would write about Indigenous issues, the Indian residential schools, and the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. But obviously, kind of as years passed, started kind of learning more about it, and my family's ties to it, and just kind of, like I said last week there, just kind of shape myself in that image, and let it kind of so just kind of allow myself to write about it a lot more. Yes, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to take actually not a quick break from like broadcasting, obviously, but a quick break from talking about residential schools, and do a couple pieces about that focus more specifically on Canada's missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and two-spirited people. This first piece I have is actually song lyrics from a song I wrote. Song lyrics that I wrote a few years ago. I think it was in 2018-ish, around there. So this piece is entitled Mary's Song, and it goes like this. Let me tell you a story of a girl I met in January named Mary. Used to sit beside me in university psychology. I remember the first day of second term, I was too shy to even say hi. Taken by the beauty of her brown skin, hair, and eyes. Soft-spoken, hard-working, quick-thinking, intelligent, always staying on the straight and narrow. Never veering off the path she was meant to follow. Pretty quickly we became friendly. No romance, no private dance. So it goes. Pretty quickly we became friendly. No romances, no private dances, though we started hanging out between classes. Week after spring break weekend, Mary told me she was stateside, jingle dancing in the garden. Said it felt like a dream in Eden, all while faking a smile and fighting like hell to conceal the pain the pain inside I could see within her eyes. Asked her what happened after class, but she just shrugged it off and changed the subject. In hindsight, that probably should have made me a bit more suspect, but I was too oblivious to think of her as a prospect of violence. The hell if I knew. There's darkness outside, so don't forget the light. Don't let it die, 'cause I don't want to say goodbye. Is your hourglass out of sand? Are you missing or are you dead, my friend? There's darkness outside, so don't forget the light. Don't let it die, 'cause I don't want to say goodbye. I don't want to say goodbye. I don't want to say goodbye. So I don't want to say goodbye. Couple weeks passed by since I saw the pain pass through her eyes. Gotta be honest, thought everything was fine until one evening on May 18th. We were hanging out drinking at a lounge. One round in, Mary looks at me and stops my whole world. My whole world with just 6 words. I was raped during spring break, she says tearfully. Truthfully, I didn't even know what to do. Truthfully, I didn't know what to do. Feeling helpless, pissed, and confused. Do I pull her close or wipe her eyes? Frozen and uncertain, trying to think of something so she knows I'm listening. Fine. Do I pull her close or wipe her eyes? Frozen and uncertain, trying to think of something. trying to think of something so she knows I'm listening. Finally, I ask her what she needs. She says somewhere quiet we can talk in peace. So I pay her tabs and head to the car parked down the street. Listening, park down the street and listen in stunned silence. Gotta be getting more and more pissed by the minute. And as Mary confesses every second, I swear to God, if I ever find that coward, I'ma kill that. 2 hours later, drop her off, then drive home, slowly thinking about how there's darkness outside, so don't forget the light. Don't let it die, 'cause I don't want to say goodbye. Is your hourglass out of sand? Are you missing or are you dead, my friend? There's darkness outside, so don't forget the light. Don't let it die, 'cause I don't want to say goodbye. I don't want to say goodbye. I don't want to say goodbye. That was on a Thursday, saw her the next night standing on a corner 9:30, but it ain't like that, nah. But it ain't like that, 'cause Mary kept it straight. We're walking home from a coffee shop on 6th and Main, working hard on her studies, grinding away. Should have said something, because little did I know that would be the night she'd be stolen away. 2 days later, got a notification on my phone that with Mary's face and description saying she's missing, and it broke. And it broke my heart, because I know she ain't coming back, not because she's dead, but because she's another missing indigenous woman, another statistic, another addition to this country's growing epidemic that has no end in sight. Now, I never knew a woman named Mary, but this story is still a living reality. I swear this crisis is a modern day racial cleansing that no one is seeing. No one believing that being indigenous is hazardous, especially when there's darkness outside, so don't forget the light. Don't let it die, 'cause I don't want to say goodbye. Is your hourglass out of sand? Are you missing or are you dead, my friend? There's darkness outside, so don't forget the light. Don't let it die, 'cause I don't want to say goodbye. Don't want to say goodbye. There's darkness outside, so don't forget the light. Don't let it die, 'cause I don't want to say goodbye. Is your hourglass out of sand? Are you missing or are you dead, my friend? There's darkness outside, so don't forget the light. Don't let it die, 'cause I don't want to say goodbye. I don't want to say goodbye. Goodbye. Okay, so that was my piece entitled, because those are my song lyrics for the song I wrote entitled Mary's Song. So I think that one was really, so a couple words about this one. So usually when I write lyrics, or really any kind of writing, if I'm being honest, I usually write it out in like one kind of marathon writing session, kind of start to finish type of thing. But I remember when I was writing Mary's Song, I actually had to break it up. I would get a few lines, maybe half a verse or whatever in, and just completely go blank. I had to take like a couple hours off, a day off, whatever, and kind of come back and work on it like that. So it probably took me a good, I'm gonna say, almost a week to actually write that, which is I think the longest I've spent writing prose, poetry, or song lyrics. Usually it's just a few hours. So that was my piece entitled Mary's Song. Again, those are song lyrics. So this next piece is another kind of open verse prose poem. It's another open verse poem. This one is called MMIWG, so Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls, Not One More. And it goes like this. Not one more stolen sister. Not one more murdered mother. Not one more Indigenous woman ever. Not one more painted hand printed red over my mouth. Not one more bloodshot eye tearing while screaming, why? Not one more Facebook post. Not one more from coast to coast to coast. This Mother's Day, I will hug my mother in the morning as I am mourning every female Indigenous casualty. From the quiet country to the bustling city, this is a nationwide disgrace. Mothers, daughters, lovers, murdered or missing with no trace. What is the reason? We must end this open season. Is it hate? Is it racism? Is it a system that's broken? These words I have spoken, a call to action. Each one that is taken, a price we must pay. Listen when I say we must end these tragedies with urgency. The cost of life is not currency, but the price hike is too prolific. Every single loss is truly horrific. If you want a better mental pick, Indigenous women are 12 times more likely to be taken to heaven's door or disappear than any other group of peers. Not one more stolen sister, not one more murdered mother, not one more indigenous woman ever. Let us stand on guard for thee in this national racial tragedy. Not one more MMIWG. Okay, so that was my piece entitled MMIWG, Not One More. So both those pieces I think are very interesting because those are actually the only two pieces that I have specifically that deal specifically with MMIWG, Canada's Missing, Murdered, Indigenous Women and Girls, Two-Spirited People. I remember doing the research for that piece specifically on MMIWG, Not One More, was really hard. It wasn't hard to find the statistics or anything like that, but it was just hard to have to face it, I guess, to see that it was that many, that it's that much more likely. Like I see in that piece, Indigenous women and girls, two-spirited people, are 12 times more likely to either be killed or disappear without a trace than any other ethnic group of peers, which is just insane. So yeah, anyways, that was my piece entitled MMIWG, Not One More. So this next piece, I'm going to do is a little bit longer. Yeah, it's a little bit longer of a piece. It's definitely more, because this next piece is a little bit longer and is definitely prose. Sorry. So this piece is entitled Honor Be to the Fallen, and it goes like this. Tell me honestly, look me in the eye, talk to me face to face. Not over the phone, not over the internet. Let me feel the air from your breath against my face. Let me see your beady eyes. Allow me to try and read the expression upon your face. Tell me honestly, do you care? Have you ever? For our children? Have you forgotten? Have you forgotten, from prairie fields to rocky lands, from coastal seas to snow-capped territories, Cypress Hills marred in blood, heart of the shield, we will not yield. Why can't wounds be healed? Tears wept, confessions kept, fall upon letters never sent, lined up neatly on foyer benches, the answer to dying breaths, cried from foreign trenches, to the sun they fade, acting in roles grudgingly portrayed, to fill the compliance of which our lives are laid. Glee is not the trials and tribulations of war. Damn the legions of emotions that rattled them to the core. Addicts to the blind violence, their plane ticket sits rejected as they heighten their vigilance for fear of the ensuing silence. Intoxicated, they fear not the most truthful face of malice. Can one's soul become calloused? Frozen by the words once preached, now haunted by their lies besieged. To the shadows they stray, truths and realities hidden away, as the light dulls to gray, then succumbs to the security of black illuminated day. It is here they elected to play. Amongst the rapid expelling of belted bullets through camouflage smoke. Time and again, the place where hell is lodged fails to cloak tending eyes when children dies. May honor be to the fallen, their names never soon forgotten, their souls hath been stolen, but displayed on a red-stained bulletin. Glimmers of innocence forever lost in this once picturesque palace of perfection. The tainted ideal now reads death in every reflection. Through ruptured lives and shattered hearts that bleed the wishes of forgiveness, prayed unto the Holy Son of Nazareth. For glee is not the trials and tribulations of war, yet it is only for glee is not the trials and tribulations of war, yet it is only through courage falling in the letters never sent that we as a race can hope to ever move away and grow to a level of trust mortal enemies cannot see reached. Our unity upon a desert can never be beached. But to the sun they wade, acting in roles unknowingly portrayed, to fill the compliance upon which was laid. Tears wept and confessions kept falling upon letters never sent and captured in the walls of a sprawling labyrinth. The tainted ideal now reads death in every reflection, for glee is not the trials and tribulations of war. May we damn the legions that rattle them to the core. Raise the cloak over telling eyes of the children that died, names displayed upon an orange-stained bulletin. Glimmers of innocence forever stolen in these sacrilegious, grotesque prisons of Holocaust. Honor be to the fallen. May we damn the legions murdered and missing, disappearing. Is it beyond your recollection? Tell me honestly, look me in the eye, talk to me face to face, not over the phone, not over the internet. Let me feel the air from your breath against my face. Allow me to see, let me see your beady eyes. Allow me to try and read the expression upon your face. Tell me honestly, do you care? Have you ever? Honor be to the fallen. Every child matters. May we damn the legions, because we are not just something else. Okay, so that was my piece entitled Honored Be to the Fallen. So this is actually kind of a marriage combination of actually three pieces. So those being May God Damn the Legions, Something Else, and Tell Me Honestly. So Tell Me Honestly is literally just that first stanza. Tell me honestly, look me in the eye, talk to me face to face. That part up until Have You Forgotten. So that's Tell Me Honestly. And then May God Damn the Legions and Something Else is kind of mishmashed. The rest of the piece is kind of a combination of those two. But with that being said, all three of those pieces, again, May God Damn the Legions, Something Else, and Tell Me Honestly, are used in their entirety, or close to their entirety, in Honor Be to the Fallen. So how am I doing? Okay, I got lots of time yet. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say there. Okay, so I do have so one other point I wanted to make before I keep going. So I do have videos for They Can't Break Our Spirit, which is the first piece I did, MMIWG, Not One More, as well as Honor the Fallen, and a couple, as well as these next two pieces. The first of those two pieces being The Forest Whispers. Okay, so this is The Forest Whispers. This is another, this is definitely another prose piece. And it goes like this. Walk in silence through the forest of darkness. Pay no mind to the footsteps that creep behind. The voices you hear in your ear are the whispers of the thoughts you hold so dear. Come on over, my dear. Do you see that glimmer of light over there? See how it shimmers without any fear. That is the power you have not got, and I am the knowledge you were not taught. Ah, my friend, do not be afraid of the forest, for it is a forest you yourself hath made. Surely you should feel at home, yet you are still timid to roam. Yes, the trees stand as firm as your hate, the wind howling with comments you shared. It is not we who provoked your venomous breath, but it is we who have been called to death. Our walk through the forest, just a brief glimpse, merely a gander at the power of your pander. Does it make you wonder about being pulled under? Does it make you want to surrender? Has it turned you into a coward? Sit now down on a fallen log, aside a bubbling bog, taking the sight of your entertainment for the night. I promise there'll be sex and violence. Fall into a trance at the beat of branches. Loosen your pants for this dance. I am not sorry for this show being hoary, nor displaying child rape upon a tape. Uncomfortable though you feel, know the story is real. Do you still stand upon your racist hill? Do you still believe indigenous and eyesore? Are you Are you disgusted with your skin? Are you disgusted your skin the color of horror? Need I continue to show you more? Well, here's Act 2, pots and pans, not a garage band, but weapons in settler hands, cast to defenseless bodies to kill the Indian without worries. Is your solution to homeless indigenous still ruthless as a 2021 60 scoop? Walk in silence through the forest of darkness. Pay no mind to the footsteps that creep behind. The voices you hear in your ear are the ghosts lost in indigenous genocide. Their whispers whimper, telling truths too horrific to depict atop building roofs. But yet you claim no shame while spewing wicked vile upon their name, careless of pain. While we take this walk through nature, take care to hear karma's talk of torture. I promise you will not be touched. No mark shall befall your skin, but be aware. Your thoughts of superiority will crumble in a fraction of our adversity. No, keep your eyes looking forward, for you were not the one called to death. Why do you now shudder your breath? Surely you are not scared to share this dance, if you refuse to diffuse your wicked stance. Stumble and crumble, trip and fall, now you do not stand so tall. Take care, my fair friend, for there is but, in fact, still one more act you must learn. Let us stop, about face and turn, to face the blackness as forest consumes us. Do you hear the deathly silence, or perhaps the silence of death? No. Okay. Do you hear the deathly silence, or perhaps the silence of death? No. What is it you hear being whispered in your ear? Oh, crippling children coarse cries. Allow me to strike again with reality. Presently, the totality is 7,262 finally found from underground from 2 countries. Do you still hold virtuous the solution to indigenous homelessness? Is enforced adherence to life within reservations without resources, whilst yet you protest gain, violence, and addiction. Are they not outcomes of your restrictions? Come on over, my dear, do not fear. Walk in silence through this forest of darkness. Remember this, what you have seen is merely a glimpse of our everyday horror. Okay, so that was my piece entitled... So that was my piece entitled "The Forest Whispers." So this was actually inspired by a racist conversation that I was kind of overheard and unfortunately was a part of at my place of work. Unfortunately, it's kind of inspired this. But I think it's really interesting that it kind of takes. How it takes kind of what was being said in that conversation and kind of flips it and kind of shoves it back at that person, if that makes sense. So like I said before I recited it, I do have a video up on my YouTube channel, obviously Lone Wolf Poetics, for this piece, as well as the next piece. So this next piece is actually probably my most aggressively emotional piece that I've ever written about kind of indigenous issues. It's also one of my favorites, but it's also one of my favorites. So this piece is entitled "Desperality," and I will comment on what that name means. So I'll explain what the name means after. So with that said, this is my piece entitled "Desperality," and it goes like this. I am crying. It breaks my heart knowing that while I sit in my room, there is someone somewhere feeling useless and powerless, consumed by their demons, thinking death is the only means to an exorcism. I swear I am sick of this racism, and the mental health system is a joke in this province. Not the kind that's light-hearted and funny, it's the kind that'll take a life in a hurry. My mind is in a fury knowing somewhere someone's vision is blurry from the pills they popped, the pain in someone's wrists they could not resist. I will not say a name, I will not pass shame, because I know the government and their budget is to blame for this tragedy. Money-hungry power freaks that are too high and mighty to hear the dying cries of indigenous youth all across this country. It's a national epidemic, and I pray I will not be caught up in it. I don't want to be pulled under or succumb to that monster, but until they cease this financial rape, there is no escape. I want us to be free, but they don't care about us or me. Just keep us locked away in a padded cell, walking through their systemic hell. Deaf ears do not hear our cries. Blind eyes miss our missing wives. I am crying. It breaks my heart knowing the only reason someone somewhere is alive is the front door opening and closing, and they are no longer alone. Their little sister, I'll name her Salone, has come home from school and they can't handle hearing her cry. So through teary eyes they connect to the hotline, 1-800-273-8255, pouring their heart out to someone they can't even see. Man, just yesterday, my best friend Credence got his ass kicked for doing a Creed dance, then arrested for filing a grievance. I mean, since when does reporting a crime come with the threat of doing time? The only reason he was dancing was because his only sister is missing and is trying to get the attention of the nation, but the government won't listen, say she's just another addition to this country's missing and murdered indigenous women. But he knows she's more than a number on a stats can sheet or the drum beat in Canada's new national anthem. I don't want to be pulled under or succumb to that monster, but until they cease the sacrificial rape, there is no escape. I want us to be free, but they don't care about us or me. Just keep us locked away in a padded cell, walking through their systemic hell. Deaf ears do not hear our cries. Blind eyes miss our missing wives. I swear, I am sick of this governance, hearing the endless silence when the problem is so glaringly obvious. 215 has become 5,296, but a concert of crickets would sell more tickets! My mind is in a fury thinking about how little Parliament cares about Canada's Indigenous. I don't know when it started or what it will take to change it, but something has to be done, because our desecration is still young and getting worse by the second, with every life still not found that can't be resurrected. Perhaps all our souls in a mirror should be painfully inspected until our eyes drown in tears. Perhaps that will clear our vision. Rain disguises the tears, but tears clears the vision of this mission. But only if someone, somewhere, cares to listen. Okay, so that was my piece entitled Desperality. So the name is obviously very unique, I think. Okay, so the name is obviously very unique. And actually, at the time I was writing this piece, I actually didn't know what to call it. Couldn't really think of one name that kind of encapsulated the whole, like, what I was saying. And I didn't want to just leave it as untitled. I do think there is time and place for naming a piece just untitled. And I think it can be a very impactful, okay, so I think it can be, if done right, I think it can be a very impactful technique to use, but I also felt like it just did not fit. But I felt like it just did not fit with this piece. So I eventually kind of started playing around with just like different parts of words and came up with Desperality, which is actually a combination of despair, reality, and desperate. So despair, so desperate, despair, and reality. So Desperality. But yeah, so I still have a fair, so I have one more piece to do. So I have one more piece that's kind of centered around Indigenous. So I have one more piece that's kind of centered around Indigenous So the indigenous theme of this night, up tonight. So that being said, though, this one is actually very uplifting and very kind of the very polar opposite of what I just read. So this is a piece I wrote. So this is a poem I wrote, entitled "Chief Poundmaker," and it goes like this. Tall and lean, with hair flowing, long like Saskatchewan horizon. His words spoken so soft, they rattle with a defender's growl. Cloaked in snow-white trims, skin-hide vest, traditional trims. He fights for his people, land, salvation, protection, inclusion. May Treaty 6 forever stand to hold honor, the peacemaking name, Poundmaker. His words elegant, through space and time, carried by prairie winds. I have seen his spirit in 2018 as if it were 1878, just the same. Worn his painted hands adorning the face at night I see. Traveled through the chief's eyes, glowing magnificent green, obliged his request. He may once more dance to the beat of drums in the midnight air, making proud a Poundmaker. In return, receiving what I could hardly bear, visions of family lost, laughing in thin air. Thy heart and world completed, mended beyond compare. Thank you, Chief Poundmaker. Okay, so that was my piece entitled Chief Poundmaker. So this piece, I actually kind of a funny story. This is like a 11th hour addition to my, I guess you could call it like a set list tonight. I actually totally forgot I had written this piece, and then I was looking for a different piece and came across this one and decided to, because all the other pieces tonight have been so heavy and so emotional and so hard to listen to. I thought I would end with this one. So I thought I would end with this one. And still kind of keeping with the theme, obviously indigenous. Chief Poundmaker was a Chief Poundmaker was a chief up in northern Saskatchewan, Treaty 6 land, which is Treaty 6 land, so up in northern Saskatchewan. And that was one of the things that he was known for, is telling his people not to fight when they're basically being kicked out of their land, and just refusing to fight. He was actually arrested and charged for, I think it was something to do with like resisting arrest or violence or something like that, which is just does not make sense at all. So he was arrested and like put in prison. I think he actually passed away in prison, if I'm not mistaken. And it wasn't until actually 2018 that he was actually exonerated, well after his death, which is crazy to me. But like I said, I thought I would end with this, obviously still keeping with the indigenous theme, but very much on the opposite spectrum, very lighthearted, very much something, because this is very much a poem similar to a story that you would hear on our brand new show, The Curious Narrative. I was able to catch his second episode, which is yesterday. I was able to catch his second episode. Great job. Okay, so Josh is a great broadcaster. Definitely next Tuesday. Definitely check that out. It's a great time. I believe he's going to be talking about Sasquatch or Bigfoot. There's a bunch of other names as well for him, for Bigfoot, Sasquatch, however you wanna address him, address that cryptid. So because I still have a little bit of time here, actually I have a lot of time, and today's been so heavy. I'm gonna trying to see here. Maybe not. Okay, so I'm going to see, because I'm trying to find a very kind of upbeat, lighthearted piece I can end with tonight, but I'm not really seeing any. Let me check one more place here. That's not working. Okay. Let me go this way. Give me a second here. Okay, so while I'm looking for this, let's take a look at what's coming up right here on Cosmos Astrum Radio. So right after me, in about 20 minutes or so, we have the Boreal Ghost show. Always a great mix of music, different. Okay, so I always say this kind of every week. It's music that you're not gonna find anywhere else. Bands you never heard of, but great music nonetheless. So that's gonna kick off, like I said, in about 20 minutes right here on Cosmos Astrum Radio, so 9 o'clock p.m. Saskatchewan time. Following that, on Friday, we have the Thunder Cave show with Joe. Not really sure what he's going to be doing, but awesome mix of music and music mediums as well. So Joe's show is going to kick off at 10 o'clock p.m. Saskatchewan time. Again, that's the Thunder Cave show. Following that, we have, if you can stay up for it, we have Loki's Laughs, which is just an hilarious hour and a half or so of music, stand-up comedy. It's definitely not family friendly. It's definitely not family friendly. Definitely not family friendly, though. That was hard to say. Which is why it kicks off at 1 o'clock a.m. Saskatchewan time. So with that said, next week right here on Inside the Wolf's Den on Cosmos Astrum Radio, I'm gonna open up about myself a little bit, and so next week's theme is gonna be ADHD. I'm really excited for that. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about. So that's gonna be like I said, that's gonna be right here, that's gonna be right here inside the Wolf's Den on Cosmos Astrum Radio, next Thursday night. So next Thursday night, beginning at 8 o'clock Saskatchewan time. So that's pretty much all I have to say. That's pretty much all I have to say, for you guys tonight. So I will leave you with one more poem. This one is very, very uplifting, and this one's very, very uplifting. I'll kind of get you in the mood for the weekend coming up here in a couple days. So this piece is entitled "The Moment of the Outlander," and it goes like this. There are moments in this life. These moments that seem nondescript are the ones where script is written. Enlighten and illuminate your realistic meaning, but do not hesitate, for hesitation leads only to suffocation of your truest state. There are moments in this life, clear without strife, where silence and patience calls like a beacon that beckons you to awaken, to overhaul your course-laid action. These moments, though they are fleeting, these moments, though they are fleeting, are the greeting of your potential. Quintessential depleting lapses of influential power-packed time, specifically designed to impact your mind and settle you in the saddle along a path you can handle. Every loss, every battle, every change of season has a reason. So you can break the mold of old, because homeostasis never faces a mirror, which is why it only interferes when your finish line finally appears. The devil can only invest in hands still at rest, so allow me to digress and address the moments that seem nondescript, but where our script is written. If life is but a performance play, then along the way we must peak and fall, climb and crawl, but above all, remember those who stood tall, the ones a burning ember, who recognized the moment, a flicker in the dark, and ignite a spark into flame, and use that flame to perspire a drive inside to inspire themselves to something higher. Born by a willingness to stand, born from a willingness to stand alone, they're the outlanders carved in stone. Good night.